Welcome to the Observe Day podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Our guest today is the author of Gail and the Red Kite of Courage, a moving children's book that blends adventure, family, and emotional resilience. The story follows Gail, a young girl struggling with her brother's cancer diagnosis, who discovers courage and healing through a red kite and an extraordinary friendship with the wind. Jenny Milton, also known as Andrena Jen. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi,
Uh,
Wisdom. How are you today? I'm excited
and
to be chatting with you and sharing some stories with your audience.
yeah,
Thank
today
you.
in honor of National Reading New Book Month, we will explore how children's literature can comfort, teach resilience, and inspire courage in young readers and adults as well.
I love that, and that is something that I really wanted to share in my book, Gail and the Red Kite of Courage, because I think courage is such an important thing for us all to have, not just children, but as adults, we need courage in everything we do. And so when I decided to write this book, I wanted to make sure that the lessons that I left for those children was to find joy, to find courage, and to have a good time just outside flying a kite.
Yeah, September is National Reading New Book Month. Why do you think this is the perfect time for children to discover Gale and the Red Kite of Courage?
I think that our world is throwing us a lot of challenges, right? In this world, no matter what country you live in, we are having challenges. And when a challenge comes up in our world, if we see it as a threat, then we go into that primal fear response and we want to run away. But if we can see that challenge as something that could be exciting if we get to the other side of the challenge,
Yeah,
then we're going to feel good. We're going to feel proud of ourselves. And I think the ingredient that it takes to overcome a challenge is courage. Courage is that one thing we need to find in order to overcome the fear and to build our confidence.
yeah. Well, you started the book with the book, you started the book with a very tough theme, right? It begins with sadness, isolation due to Great Gail's other's illness. Why was it important for you to address such a tough theme in a children's book?
It was important to me because this is actually a true story. I don't know if you can recognize the character on the front. Hey, Gail, Gail is actually based
Ah,
after me. This is a true story of my life. And when I was 11 years old and my brother was 10, we were having a great time in life, doing lots of different sports. But my brother came home one day and said to my mum, "Oh, my leg hurts." And he'd just been playing football. And so my dad said, brush it off. It's okay. But my mum, she had that mother's intuition that something might be wrong. And so she took him down the hospital and they had x-rays. And the next day we were told something that no family or no kid at the age of 9 should ever be told. And that is he had bone cancer.
oh,
And the best chance of survival was chemotherapy and also to have his leg amputated. And
oh,
so um, at a very young age, it was a tough time for our family. And so this book to me is about family and sharing a little bit about all of my family to share this story of finding hope, of getting through those tough times. So I actually dedicated the book to my grandmother for her 100th birthday, and it was wonderful to share that with her for her 100th birthday. I mean, it's tough to think of what are we going to give our grandma for such an amazing birthday. And
yeah.
the book starts out with Gail sitting in her room. You can see she has her stuffed kangaroo there. It's based in Australia, and she's looking out the window at the trees and the wind, and she was always scared of the wind. This was a tough time for her, and so it was a scary time. Everything was scary. Life was scary. The wind was scary. The future was scary. And so the book really shares that when something tough happens, we can feel very sad. And I remember just being very sad, very depressed, and spending a lot of time in my bedroom as a little girl and not quite knowing how to deal with it. And a sign of depression is when we're not finding joy in all of our sporting products, all the
Yeah.
things that used to bring us joy before. That joy is just gone because we are just so sad about what's happening. And I wanted to share a little bit of that journey, but also after sharing that dark time for me, I wanted to show you how to get out of depression and how I moved through that tough times into better times. And it all started when my brother got home from the hospital, and it happened to be my birthday, and I thought that everybody was going to forget my birthday because my brother was needing so much
Yeah.
attention. And he bought me a kite for my birthday. And I was very, very excited. And my mum, I asked my dad if he could take me outside and show me how to use this kite. My dad was a sailor in real life, and he taught my brother and I to sail at a young age. So this was a
Yeah.
great way of me um, sharing that and acknowledging my father, of being very grateful for him taking me outside to fly the kite. And this was the point when I needed to find courage. It's always scary when we're learning something new. And this was, really a transitional point in my life where I moved from that depressed state in the bedroom to going outside and getting
Yeah.
active and running around again.
Well, well,
Um,
you use the red kite as a symbol of courage and healing. How did you, I mean, yeah, now you're narrating it that it's the book is based on your story, but how did you come up with the idea of weaving kites and wind into the story?
Well, this is actually a true story. My brother did get me my first kite for my birthday. He and my best friend went halves in this kite, and it was one of the best presents that I ever got in my whole life because this kite really introduced me to the weather. And it introduced me to the wind, which is an ingredient we need for flying kites.
Yeah.
And I believe that a lot of people, they don't like the wind. I talked to my mum in Australia. I said, "How are you going, mum?" She said, "Oh, it's a terrible day." I go, "What's so bad about today?" "Oh, it's so windy outside." People don't tend to like the wind. But having that kite, it really introduced me and made me fall in love with the wind and the weather, because when it was windy, I got to go and play with my kite. And so I went from that young age of flying the red kite that my brother gave me. I went on to fly, you know, the small kite to begin with, and then bigger kites and bigger kites. And I went on to become a Australian kite surfing champion, and even one of the world's best snow kiters. So even though I'm in my 50s today, that one present changed and directed my whole life, because I became a professional kite flyer, and I still teach people to fly kites today, and am still so passionate about it. So I wanted to share that part of my life story in the book. But how I came up with the name for the book was that I made the decision that I wanted to raise money for a children's cancer charity, because when I was young, my brother got a lot of support as the person with cancer, but it's
Yeah.
also really hard on all the siblings. And they know that these days. Back in the 80s, there wasn't a lot of support for the siblings, and I had a tough time. Whereas these days, there's charities out there that actually help families, including the siblings, deal with having childhood cancer in the family. And I found a charity in Australia when I was searching that supported these families, and it was called Red Kite.
Wow.
Red
Wow. What are
Kite
the
was the
odds?
name of the charity, and I'm like, oh, thank you, universe. You have shared this amazing moment with me, and it was just perfect. And so I decided to call it Gail and the Red Kite of Courage. And I'm very proud that the proceeds of this book have been supporting that charity and going towards it for 12 months now.
Wow. Oh, that's that's some good news. Ah, that's progress.
Yeah,
But
yeah. The other thing I wanted to share was that I thought it was really important to share that my brother losing his leg to having cancer and losing his leg wasn't a terrible part of the story. I mean, I love this illustration, and my illustrator did an incredible job, don't you think? She did an amazing
yeah.
job. And this illustration is one of my favorites, where my grandma takes us to a kite festival, and my brother and I both get to fly kites, and he could fly a kite on with one leg, no problem at all. And it says here that Gail watched as her brother flew his kite with determination. He was hopping around with happiness. She felt proud of him and of herself. They had both found courage in difficult times, and now they were soaring like eagles together.
Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation. Yeah, wow. Wow. Parents and teachers, they often look for books that help children talk about emotions. How do you see your book being used in families, classrooms, or libraries?
Well, I'm so proud that I've already got my book in quite a few libraries, and I've been lucky enough to go to schools and do book readings and to share the stories with others. But the most important part, I believe, is getting this book in the hands of children who are going through childhood cancer and the families. And so it is my goal to get this book in as many hospitals as possible, so that they can read a story of hope, and seeing how something so tragic can turn into something so beautiful. I mean, the lessons in this book talk about overcoming tough times, overcoming depression, finding courage when we're learning something new, and finding joy in the simple things like flying a kite. It encourages kids to not spend time on their computers and their games, but actually go outside, and the importance of doing outdoor activities. And it shares that we can have a love of wind, and the wind can become our best friends. I recently got a testimonial on Amazon, and when you buy this book, you can leave a review. And I was reading through them, and it shared the story of a family who had been in Florida for the tornadoes, which was a very traumatic time for a lot of people. And she mentioned that her children were so scared of the winds, because the winds had been so angry and destructive during that time, and taken a lot of houses away. And when she read this book to them, they were able to see the wind in a different way, and see that the wind could actually bring joy, not just destruction. And it
Yeah,
was, I had a tear coming down my face to know that my book had touched people, that I never expected, who were having traumatic times. And I have had other people tell me that now every time their children go outside and they see the wind, they're excited. Oh, mommy, can we fly a kite just like Gail? And in the back of this book, I think this is what makes it wonderful for schools and teachers, is that I share fun facts about the wind and kite. So it's
yeah,
educational as well as just a story. And of course there's some jokes about wind, funny wind jokes. And then the last page is teaching the children how to make their own kites out of things you've got at home: a piece of paper, some sticky tape, a couple of popsicle sticks, and some string, and you can make a kite that really flies. And that's one of the things I love to do when I go to schools, is to have
Yeah.
all of the children make their own kite. They all decorate it themselves and they run around flying these kites. They even fly indoors, so it's a great activity for kids if it's a stormy, rainy day too.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that the book has gotten a lot of positive feedback, and it's nice to know that the work one sets out to do is really making an impact.
It really is. And Wisdom, I'm so excited to share with you, because hot off the press, it only just launched last week, is the
Okay.
second book in the Gail series. So
Wow.
this one is called Gail and the Wind Warriors. So if you enjoyed following the story of Gail in the first book, this is the second book, where Gail actually is being teased at school. The kids are laughing at her because her name is Gail, and she's named after Gale Force winds. And they are laughing at her and saying she's best friends with the wind. And I really relate. Again, that's a true story for me. I was so in love with the wind and playing in the wind, but not everybody shared that love with me.
Yeah.
And so a lot of kids are getting teased at school. So this really shares that lesson of believing that we can have things that we love that are different to others. And Gail gets invited to go to an event. And in this event, she meets the Wind Warriors. And these are a group of ladies who also love wind. And they teach all these kids how to do the different wind sports. And so again, that was part of my life. They get taught that you can use a board and a kite and do big jumps, and you can use a kite to do freestyle maneuvers and tow you on the waves, on the rails. And you can use a wing and a foil board called wing foiling to have fun
Yeah.
with the wind. Or kite surfing, using the kites to tow you into the waves. And so this book really shares all of the different wind sports that are out there, which was the next stage for me after flying a kite in the park. I wanted to fly bigger kites and do more things with kites. And so it shares that. And it also shares that there are other kids, and all the kids have different names associated with wind. This kid is called Ventus. His name is
Yeah.
Ventus, which is the Latin word for wind. And so Gail meets all these other kids, and they all have wind names together. So she's really finding her tribe. And all the kids get to try the different wind sports and see which one they like the best to find their own style. And that's when Gail shares that she likes flying her kites in the wintertime with her skis on snow. And this introduces the kids to the sport of snow kiting, which is my favorite sport in the whole world,
Yeah.
where I get to use my kite to actually tow me up mountains. And so that's a very niche sport that not a lot of people know about. And I really wanted to open the children's eyes to the possibilities of what they can do in this world, and that they can find their own passions, their own styles, and they will find their own tribe, just like I did, to find a group of people that enjoy the same hobbies and the same things.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Jenny. I did prepare a lightning round questions for you. Quick fire
Yeah,
questions that require quick fire responses. You ready
yeah,
there,
let's
Bat?
do it.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite children's book growing up?
My favorite children's book growing up was Eden Blyton, was the author, and she did a series of books, but there was one called it was called Mr. Twits, the Twits, and they were very, very funny. And yeah, I remembered he had a big moustache and he got food stuck in his moustache, and I just loved that book. Yeah.
Yeah. What's a children's book you think every parent should read to their kids?
Gail and the Red Kite of Courage. I think
Yeah.
everybody should read to their children's because it is such a different book and introduces a lot of incredible concepts.
Yeah. Oh, what's the funniest wind or kite fact from your book?
Oh, the funniest, of course, the joke page is very funny. Why did the kite start a band? Why
Hmm.
did the kite start a band? Because it wanted to play wind instruments.
Ah,
Uh,
ah, that's clever. Okay. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, what's your favorite part of Gay's story to write?
the favorite part of Gail's story to write was actually at the end of the book. I felt like at the end of the book I should really share the journey of my brother so that people aren't just the kids are like, well, mummy, he lost a leg. What happens then? And so at the back of the book, I shared the story of my brother that he went on to become the world's best skier on one leg. Has gold medals in the Olympics. He has Guinness World Book of Records for the fastest skier in the world. He holds the world speed skiing record. He also is the fastest man to run a marathon with crutches, and he became a superstar in this world. So just because we have a disability or something that many people would perceive is holding them back, you can do absolutely incredible things. And so writing my brother's bio and sharing that with people was so wonderful because I'm just so proud of my brother. He's a true inspiration to so many people, including myself.
Yeah. And then the last question is, if your life right now were the title of a children's book, what would it be?
Ooh, well, as I mentioned, I just finished the second book, Gale and the Wind Warriors, but I have a third book in me, and that is Gale and the Wind Wizard. And Gale is going to go on a search to find the Wind Wizard because he has the ability to help with the climate and to stop all of these, crazy storms because the wind is so angry and causing tornadoes and causing havoc in this world. And so she goes on a journey to save the planet and save the world by finding the wind wizard. And that is something I'm just so passionate about is our climate, our environment, and sharing that with the world, including the kids.
Yeah. Would you love to see your books adapted into a children's movie?
Oh, yes, yes, I would. And I've thought about that. I would love to see it as an animated series and the adventures of Gail. I think it's kind of like Dora the Explorer, and this is Gail and her best friend the Wind, and they have these journeys together. That would be an absolute dream wisdom to see this
Yeah.
as a children's animated movie.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Jenny. You've all through the conversation we've talked about the book, the Gale series. Where can we learn more about the book and also connect with you?
Well, you can find the Gale series on Amazon in all the different countries. So just go to Amazon in your country, and you can either put in my name, Jenny Milton, or put in Gale and the Red Kite of Courage, and you'll see those books come up. There's some more information about the books. You can get the ebook, the paperback, or the hardcover, and you won't be able to just stop at one. You'll want to find out what Gail does next in Gail and the Wind
Yeah.
Warriors.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jenny. What's your website? Uh,
You can
what's your
find out
website?
more about the books at gailandtheredkite.com.
Gail and the Red Kite.com. I'll put the link
Yeah.
mentioned in the description. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Wisdom. And thank you to all the audience out there. I hope you enjoyed my stories today. And I hope your children will enjoy reading the book too.
Yeah, thank you. That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.